This is Rachel Park, and she she is our last but certainly not least speaker, so I'm going to turn this over to you.
Go, Rachel! I love you, Rachel!
I was counting on Justice to be back there and embarrass you. I love it. Thank you.
You gotta put the line note to your mouth.
Okay. Got it? Yeah. Well, yeah, we got it. Okay, we're not starting off. Okay. So, first of all, thank you to Amplify for this incredible opportunity to share our diverse community stories today. So I'm Rachel Park. I'm a Salesforce analyst at Slalom. I'm a tie designer, and I'm also a breast cancer survivor. So during my treatment, I actually used my sewing skills to create the Park Puff, which is a seatbelt pillow to comfort breast cancer survivors in the car. So, do you mind if I share the story? And if it's okay to share, I was also honored to make one for Chase as he recovered from surgery. I digress. Okay. To say I am lucky to stand in front of you today is an understatement.
Go, Rachel.
On this day, exactly 4 years ago, after years of working in Salesforce and becoming certified, I was shockingly diagnosed with stage 2B triple negative breast cancer. Now, to most of you, my first statement of being lucky may not make sense, but let me explain why. During over a year of 15 rounds of chemo, 3 surgeries, and 32 radiation treatments, I was unable to work in order to focus on healing. Now on a first break, I lost my Salesforce certification. I not only lost my hair, I lost my Salesforce cred, and I had worked really hard for it. To try to re-enter the tech world after a long absence is not easy. A few years gone in the real world is like dog years in tech. You not only have to catch up to where you were, you need to learn all the new bells and whistles that have been added since. When I left the Salesforce ecosystem, there was no lightning, no trailhead. The community was always amazing. We just didn't call it Ohana yet. When I was officially declared to have NED, or no evidence of disease, after my major surgery, I couldn't believe it. Months of chemo always had me covering my head with a scarf. But after my surgery, something shifted inside. I thought, if I could get through that, why shouldn't I be proud? From that moment on, I held my bald head high. I never covered it again. For those of you who don't know, triple negative breast cancer is aggressive and tends to recur. The highest risk of recurrence is within the first 2 to 3 years. As I recently approached my 3-year milestone, I felt an odd mix of emotions while holding my breath for the last 3 years. Now I don't feel like I can relax until my hopefully 5-year mark, when the chance of recurrence greatly goes down. And that's the truth about life after cancer. You can never really relax. Cancer is also the gift that keeps on giving. I still struggle with the ongoing effects of chemo brain, which are thinking and memory issues that can occur after cancer treatment. My memory and body is not what it was. And honestly, I hate it sometimes. In returning to the tech world as a woman, especially a woman of color with a non-technical background, as a fashion design major, for God's sake, who had been away for years, I often struggle with impostor syndrome and feeling like I truly belong in the room. Coming back into Salesforce without certification was tough. It was frustrating to keep explaining to everyone that I was certified and why I now wasn't. However, I always knew if I did it once, I could do it again. As I re-entered this world, I could not have fully come back without the love and support of Amplify. Quick shout out to my Amplify mentoring circle. We finally met in person today. I digress. Shortly before last year's Dreamforce, I noticed a call out for website help from Girlforce and the Power of Us Hub. Thinking it was a small project, I reached out to Jace Bryan. What I didn't know at the time was that Girlforce would soon become the nonprofit Amplify and was going to need an entire rebrand. With Dreamforce only a few short weeks away, I thought, surely they don't want this by then. Be careful what you wish for. Not only did we launch the new website at last year's breakfast in Salesforce Tower, while I hid in the audience, Amplify also offered to share my story during the event. As an introvert still trying to find my place back in the Ohana, I had been comfortably staying silent in the background for months and was nervous about telling my story. After discussing my jitters with my dear Salesforce friend, Laura Derby, she asked me, "What would you tell me?" I responded, "Share your story. You never know who you may be helping." I had answered my own question. When I was recently asked by my dear fashion designer friend to walk in her New York Fashion Week runway show, my knee-jerk introvert reaction was to say no. Again, Laura simply said, "Do it." When the designer showed me the swimsuit I was going to wear, I promptly asked, "Where's the rest of it?" She offered to make me feel more comfortable by adding a cover-up, but I suddenly realized what the show was all about. Not only accepting, but loving your body post-breast cancer. And although I felt my body once betrayed me, I celebrated it that day, flaws, scars, and all. Because it's also what got me through cancer. To all of you underrepresented voices in tech, I truly believe it is not an accident that I have the honor of sharing my story with you today, on this day of all days. Now, in front of the audience, instead of hiding in it, celebrating over 1 year back in Salesforce, and over 3 years cancer-free. I stand here to tell you, do not let anything get in your way. I've often been the only woman on the tech team. I've certainly been the only woman of color. But I also know I am not the only one out here. I too struggle calling myself a woman in tech and believing it, even though I have worked in it for almost 10 years. Although it may not always feel like it, know you are not alone. What you consider shortcomings will be the very things that distinguish you and set you apart from everyone else. So let your imposter syndrome fuel you. Embrace your imperfectly authentic story, whatever it may be, because it's what truly makes you unique. Remember, you can't be what you can't see. Representation matters. And when it gets tough, and it will, find your Salesforce Ohana. We're here to empower, uplift, and inspire each other. Don't get discouraged, get determined to keep going. We need you here. Thank you for listening to my story on my diagnosis day.